Yeah, now we will revise the time of supply provision. So time of supply provisions is given under which act? CGST Act. So under CGST Act, come to the page number 1, that is where I have given the section number. Under CGST Act, we have covered till when, sir? 11. Till exemptions we have covered, guys. Till exemptions we have covered. Now in this chapter, see, time of supply provisions is covered in 3 sections, guys. 12, 13 and 14 of CGST Act. But 14 is not a part of your syllabus at intermediate level. So we will be learning only 12 and 13. Very easy provision. Very easy. And I have tried to simplify it further by giving only one single chart for both goods as well as services. Yeah, listen, guys. Listen. Now, sir, why time of supply provision is required? To decide when did I supply? When did I supply? Guys, listen. Time of supply will decide when did I supply either goods or services. Supply of goods or services. So that is the day I am liable to pay tax? No. It will decide my liability, but I have to pay it in the next month. I have to pay it in the next month. For example, assume time of supply is on any day of March from 1st March to 31st March. The due date to pay GST would be 20th of next month. 20th of next month, guys. That is who is not following QRMP and all. Yes. So due date and all we will discuss in returns chapter or payment chapter. But here I am just mentioning it because students might get confused with time of supply and due date of payment. Time of supply and due date of payment is not same. But time of supply will decide your due date of payment. So if time of supply is on any day of the month, normally the due date would be 20th of next month. There are few special cases and all where the due dates would be different, but whoever is following section 9 and who is not following QRMP, section 9 normal levy and who is not following QRMP, for them the due date is 20th of next month. That is, the due date to file GST or 3B is the due date to pay GST. They both are linked. The due date to file GST or 3B is the due date to pay GST. So on or before 20th of next month, you should have paid GST and filed GST or 3B, guys. Okay, sir. So time of supply will help us to decide when did supply takes place. And for goods, it is given separately, and for service, it is given separately. For goods, it is given in section 12. For services, it is given under section 13. Guys, both has 6 subsections. If you study goods, service is done. If you study goods, service is done. Only here and there small changes are there. That's you can take care. Whereas the subsections are arranged in the same order. Okay, let us see some basics before I start with. Time is the essence of living. Tax is imposed when the supply is made. Hence, it is important to determine the time of supply. Once the time of supply is determined, levy will be made. Point of taxation means the point in time when the goods or services have been deemed to be supplied. The point of taxation enables us to determine the rate of tax, value, and due dates for payment of taxes. The time of supply indicates the point in time when the liability to pay tax arises. It is important to note here that though the liability to pay tax arises at the time of supply, the same can be paid to the government by the due date prescribed with reference to the said time of supply. Due date will vary, guys, from scenario to scenario, but standard majority of the cases who is for the assessee who is covered under 9 but not following QRMP, it is 20th of next month. I have just given an example here. If the time of supply of a given supply is 15th October, the tax leviable thereon would be payable latest by what? 20th of next month. That is on or before 20th November, which is the due date for suppliers filing GST return on monthly basis. On monthly basis, guys. That is as per section 9. Okay. So I've just given the section numbers here. 12 talks about time of supply of goods, 13 time of supply of services, whereas 14 talks about when there is a change in rate of tax, how do we decide the time of supply? What is the rate applicable? But it is not a part of your intermediate syllabus, guys. Okay, so now before I start with time of supply, I have given some stories here, guys. Some story. Listen here, because this will build up some introduction before I go to time of supply. Listen. First, we started with deciding whether the activity or transaction is a supply. For that, which section did we refer to? Section 7, read with schedule 1. Okay, sir. Once we decided whether the activity or transaction is a supply, we have to decide whether it is a supply of goods or supply of services, for which we have to refer to section 7.1 capital A, read with schedule 2. Okay, sir. Then if by chance all supply will be taxable, no. If this supply is covered in negative list or exemption, it will not be taxable. Where is negative list given? Section 7 subsection 2 read with schedule 3, or exemption section 11 of CGST Act or section 6 of IGST Act. If it is exempt, remove it. Remaining is taxable, guys. Remaining is taxable. Then we will see who is liable to pay tax. Who is liable to pay tax? Is RCM list given in the law? Yes. Check whether recipient is liable to pay tax as per section 9.3 or 9.4 of CGST Act or 5.3 or 5.4 of IGST Act. Next, check e-commerce operator. E-commerce operator also is liable to pay tax only on the notified services, which is RAT. Which is RAT. Any other case, who is liable to pay tax? Supplier, guys. Supplier. Okay, because the already I have removed exemption and negative list. Now someone is liable. If not recipient, if not e-commerce operator, who? Supplier. Yeah, yes, sir. So we decided who. Now what should they pay, sir? What they should pay? If it is intra-state supply, that is when loss pass is in the same state or union territory, what should they pay? CGST plus SGST or CGST plus UTGST. Sir, what if it is interstate supply? That is when location on place of supply is in two different states or two different union territory or one state, one union territory. Then the person is liable to pay IGST. Did we see till here? Yes. Now what are we going to learn? Sir, when? When are they liable to pay? For which we have to decide first time of supply. For which we have to decide first time of supply, guys. Shallow. I have made one single chart for goods. We will see that. Listen, easy guys, easy actually. Very small topic. Section 12 of CGST Act talks about time of supply of goods. Subsection 1 is just like an heading. It is telling the liability to pay tax on goods shall arise at the time of supply as determined in terms of the provisions of this section. Similar like heading. Yes, sir. Coming to 12 subsection 2. Earlier of the following dates is a time of supply, guys. Earlier of the following dates. What is it? Date of issue of invoice or due date of issue of invoice. Date of issue of invoice or due date of issue of invoice. Sir, due date of issue of invoice is what? It is given in section 31. I have mentioned it here itself. What is the due date to issue invoice? Supply involves movement of goods are yes. Then on or before the goods are removed from supplier's place. Sir, no sir, it doesn't have any movement. Maybe recipient is going to supplier's place and buying it. In that case, on or before the goods are delivered. Guys, please don't get confused with this. We have already discussed movement to no movement and all. That is for what? Place of supply. That is different. Here we are deciding what? Time of supply. But time of supply depends on what? Due date to issue invoice. And we are referring to which section? 31. Continuous supply of goods means supplier is continuously supplying the goods to the recipient on or like every day, day in, day out like that. In that case, will they issue invoice and get the money every day? May not be. Maybe once in a while, once in a week, once in 10 days, once in a month like that. On or before the issuance of each statement of account or payment is received. Because normally supplier will issue a statement that what and all he has supplied. Assume once in a 10 days and recipient will make payment. So we have to take the date on which account statement is given or the payment is received. Normally whichever is earlier. If both are given, take whichever is earlier, guys. Then goods are supplied on approval for sale or return basis. In that case, if sale is made, at the time of sale, invoice has to be issued. Sir, I have supplied goods to the recipient. I have given more than 6 months time for him to accept it or reject it. You may give how much ever time you want. In the GST, they are telling at the end of 6 months, it is considered as supply. Sir, he has not yet accepted, sir. No problem. At the end of 6 months, for GST purpose, it is deemed to be supply. Okay. On or before the time of supply or 6 months from the date of removal of goods, whichever is earlier. See, by chance, if question is silent, go with this. Okay. See, question only if it specify about C and D, go with it. If not, check whether there is movement or no movement and accordingly apply the provision. Accordingly apply the provision. And when you see the question, you will get an idea whether there is movement or no movement, guys. Okay, sir. Guys, previously, even date of payment was there here. Date of payment was there here, but they removed it by way of notification. As on today, date of payment is not. Now listen, I have received some advance from you for the goods to be supplied in the next 3 months. Am I supposed to pay tax on the advance? No. Only when I supply, issue the invoice, I am liable to pay GST. So if any advance is received for the goods to be supplied in future, GST is not applicable on advance. But when actually supply is made and invoice is issued, GST is liable. GST is liable. So you can just write no tax on advance for goods. Okay, sir. Next, if it is one special case, two special cases there. In case of specified actionable claims and composition suppliers, the supplier is liable to pay tax at the time of receipt of payment. The supplier is liable to pay tax at what time? Receipt of payment. Invoice, so due date of invoice doesn't matter for them. Doesn't matter for them, guys. Yes, so please be careful. Under subsection 2, where forward charge is applicable, date of payment is not there, guys. Next, under reverse charge mechanism. Guys, under reverse charge mechanism, who is liable to pay tax? Hello, recipient. So when you are learning subsection 2, you always study from supplier's point of view. Subsection 3 from recipient point of view. Easy to remember, guys. RCM is covered in which section? 9353 of 93 of CGST Act, 53 of IGST Act. Even subsection 4 also talks about it, but only few cases, real estate and all. So here also subsection 3. Easy to remember, RCM, clear, recipient. So 9394 or 5354 talks about RCM. So here also it is covered in subsection 3. Okay, here you have to think from whose point of view? Recipient point of view. Earlier of the following dates is the time of supply. Date of receipt of goods, or 31st day from the date of issue of invoice, or date of payment. Guys, listen. Recipient will receive goods. Yes, take that date. Or who will issue invoice? Supplier. But supplier date we don't take it. 31st day. In the law they have given like this. Date immediately following 30 days from the date of invoice, which means 31st day. 31st day you have to take. Okay, sir. Then date of payment. Now, guys, come on. Think from whose point of view? Recipient point of view. Recipient is making payment or receiving payment? Making payment. So in his bank account, it will be debited or credited? Will be debited or credited? Debited. You got the answer. So date of payment means what? The date of payment is earlier of date of debit in the bank account of the recipient and the date of recording the payment in the books of accounts by the recipient. Simple. The date on which the bank account is debited to the recipient or the date on which he will record to bank. He will record payment entry to bank. Debit anything, let it be. To bank he will record or to cash that day. Whichever is earlier, guys. Sometimes in the question only straight away they will only give date of payment. Straight away take it. Don't worry. Which is earlier? Which is later? Why? Only when they give both, take whichever is earlier. Okay, sir. Hope you guys got it. Okay, so when you are deciding the time of supply from RCM point of view, who are you? Recipient. Date on which you receive the goods, 31st day from the date of invoice. Sir, why not date of invoice? You are not the one who are issuing. At least some gap should be given to you. What is that gap? 31st day. Okay. Date of payment. The date on whatever date you make the payment or the record the payment, whichever is earlier. Next, voucher. Guys, when there is a sale of voucher or coupon, which you can use to buy any goods, at the time of sale of voucher, if supply is identifiable, means I know exactly for what purpose this voucher can be used. Then what is the time of supply? Date of issue of voucher. No, sir, this voucher can be used for anything, sir, anything to be purchased, sir. We don't know exactly for what purpose it will be used at the time of issue. So what would be the time of supply? Date of redemption. Date of redemption. Assume, guys, I sold voucher for you for 500 rupees. You can use it to buy pizza in Domino's Pizza, whose registered name is called Jubilant Foodworks. Now, at the time of sale of voucher itself, I know for what purpose you will use it. What is the time of supply? Date of issue. Date of issue of voucher. Next, I sold a voucher to you for 1000 rupees, which you can use to buy anything under in shopper stop, which you can use to buy anything in shopper stop. Now, do I know for what purpose you will use? No, I have only given right for you to buy anything in shopper stop. In that case, what would be the time of supply? Date of redemption. That is the date on which you use the voucher. Okay, yes. 12.4. Next, residual cases. Guys, assume you are not able to determine the time of supply as per subsection 2, subsection 3 or subsection 4. Only then go to subsection 5. Don't straight away jump to subsection 5. Subsection 5 is residuary case when 2, 3, 4 is not possible. So what is it? Where periodical return is to be filed. Then whatever is the due date to file return is the time of supply. Sir, no sir, I am not filing the return. Then whatever date you pay the GST is the time of supply. Worst case government has provided. Means this they have put only to procure themselves. Now if I tell, sir, I have supplied something, but I am not able to determine time of supply as per any of this section, then government will come and tell, I operate this section. Operate subsection, fine. Next, if there is any addition in the value of supply by way of interest, late fee or penalty, section 12, subsection 6, IPL, not Indian Premier League, interest, penalty or late fee. So if there is any addition in the value, then what is the time of supply? The date I have received. Guys, listen. I supplied goods for you for 1 lakh. I gave 1 month time for you. I issued invoice for you for 1 lakh. For that, what is the time of supply? We will assume forward charge. We will decide as per 12.2. So for 1 lakh, I will decide time of supply as per what? 12 subsection 2. There is also condition between you and me. If you don't pay within 1 month, you have to pay 10,000 extra. Interest to late fee penalty, something. You have to pay 10,000 extra. You delayed the payment and now I am charging 10,000 extra. So for 10,000, where will I decide the time of supply? As per subsection 6, guys. As per subsection 6. Now I have collected totally 1,10,000 for you. So for 1 lakh, time of supply will be decided separately. For 10,000, time of supply will be decided separately. So for 10,000, what is the time of supply? The date I received it. The date I received it. Listen. One tricky point here. Normally, when supplier charge, who is charging this to whom? Supplier to recipient. See, sometimes students get confused there also. Sir, interest, penalty and late fee means government is charging. No. That is not covered here. Who is charging to whom? Supplier to recipient. Why? For delay in payment. So date of receipt is the time of supply. But normally, what is the industry practices? Whereas recipient will pay only 10,000. Will he pay 10,000 plus GST? No. So what we consider is 10,000 as inclusive of GST and do reverse calculation. That is for section 15 purpose, but I am explaining now only value of supply. Sir, how do I calculate value of supply for this 10,000? Assume GST rate applicable is 18%, guys. So I will calculate divided by 118 into 100. This is value of supply. Sir, if I want to calculate GST amount, how, sir? 10,000 divided by 118 into 18. Assuming GST rate as 18%. Clear? Only for IPL, if question is silent, you can assume it to be inclusive of GST. Or if they only given inclusive of GST, accordingly take. Sir, can I take it in another way? Can I consider exclusive of GST and give a note for it? Yes, but I suggest, especially when GST rate and all is mentioned in the question, they are hinting you that you have to consider it inclusive. Yeah, and in your answer, consider as inclusive. Maybe in the note you can tell, we can consider it as exclusive of GST also. We can consider it as exclusive of GST also. Or in the question, if they're specifically given inclusive or exclusive, please follow the same. If question is silent, while solving the question, take it as inclusive of GST and do reverse calculation. Just give a note telling it can be considered as exclusive of GST also. Clear? Yes. So this you can just mention read with section 15 because section 15 talks about value of supply. Value of supply. If you want me to tell the section clause also 15 to D. 15 to D. Delay in payment. There is a delay in payment for which our supplier is charging what? Hello? IPL. Interest, penalty or late fee. Got it? Yes. So this is with respect to time of supply for goods, guys. We have covered everything. Time of supply of goods. Now coming to time of supply of services. Time of supply of services, which is given in section 13. Even section 13 also has 6 subsections, guys. Subsection 1, heading. The liability to pay tax on services shall arise at the time of supply as determined in terms of provisions of this section 13 subsection 1. Forward charge 13 subsection 2. You are thinking from whose point of view? Supplier. Okay. Who should issue invoice, guys? Issuing invoice is whose responsibility? Supplier. Chalo. Check first. Is invoice issued within the due date? For which we should know what is the due date to issue invoice. For which we are referring to section 31. First, let us see that. As per section 31, the time limit for issue of invoice is as follows. That is with respect to service, guys. If it is a taxable supply of service, invoice has to be issued within 30 days from the date of supply of service. But if the supplier is banking, insurance company, financial institution and NBFC, then instead of 30 days, it is 45 days. It is not 30 plus 45. Instead of 30, it is 45. Yeah. And if by chance if question is silent about supplier, go with 30 days. They are not mentioned who is the supplier and all. Go with 30 days, guys. Standard. Sir, what if it is continuous supply of services? We are giving services continuously. Then invoice must be issued on or before due date of payment as per the agreement between supplier and recipient. If there is no due date mentioned in the agreement, then the actual date of payment. Or if the payment is linked to the completion of some milestone event, guys. For example, recipient has told if you complete so much of work, you will get 2 lakh. Another so much of work, another 3 lakh, like that. So, for whatever payment you have received after completion of a particular milestone event, for the supplier, what is the due date to issue invoice? On or before the date of completion of that milestone event. So, for 2 lakh and 3 lakh, invoice has to be issued on or before the completion of that respective work, guys. Clear? Yes. And even if question is silent about continuous supply of service, don't apply that. Go with this. And here question is silent about supplier, sir. Go with 30 days. Go with 30 days, guys. Okay, sir. Coming back. So, section 13 subsection 2 tells if the invoice is issued within the due date, then what is the time of supply? Date of issue of invoice or the date of payment, whichever is early. Next, sir, what if invoice is not issued within the due date? Then we will remove date of invoice and take due date of invoice. Sorry, date of provision of service. Means the date on which service is provided. If invoice is not issued within due date, don't take the date of invoice. Instead of that, we have to bring one more. What is it? Date of provision of service. Date of provision of service means what, guys? Date on which service is provided by the supplier to recipient. Okay, sir. So date of provision of service or date of payment, whichever is earlier. Whichever is earlier, guys. Okay, sir. Now, what is date of payment, sir? Date of payment. Guys, please be careful. Only for services we are taking date of payment. Now, if I have received any advance for the services to be provided in next 3 months, should I pay tax now only? Yes, because that will be the earliest date. Date of invoice or date of payment, whichever is earlier, which will be earlier? Date of payment. So for service, if I have received any advance payment, should I pay tax on receipt basis? Yes. Whereas for goods, it is not there. Whereas for goods, it is not there, guys. Please be careful. Okay. Sir, here, date of payment means what, sir? Now, guys, we are thinking from whose point of view? Come on, supplier point of view. Supplier will make the payment or receive the payment? Receive the payment. When he receive, his bank account will be credited or debited? Credited. Done. Date of receipt of payment would be earlier of date of credit in his bank account or the date on which payment is recorded in the books of accounts of the supplier. Means he will pass the entry now bank account debit to so and so. That day or the date on which he has received the credit in his bank account, whichever is earlier. Okay, sir. Next, subsection 3. We have to think from whose point of view? Recipient point of view. Earlier of the following. Here, it is 61st day from the date of issue of invoice or date of payment, guys. Sir, what about date of receipt of service? It is not there. Whereas for goods, date of receipt of goods was there. As service is intangible, guys, it will be difficult to exactly calculate on what date is received. So that is why they didn't consider date of receipt of in services. Whereas for invoice, they took 61st day. Whereas for goods, it is 31st day. Almost double. So 31 into 2, 62 no, sir. No, 61 they have taken. What they have used in the law is like this. The date immediately following 60 days from the date of invoice, which is nothing but 61st day. Okay. Sir, here date of payment. Guys, date of payment we are deciding from whose point of view? Recipient. Recipient will pay amount or receive the amount? Pay the amount. When he pay the amount, will his bank account be debited or credited? Debited. Yes. Date of payment is earlier of the date of debit in the bank account of the recipient and the date of recording the payment in the books of accounts by the recipient. That is the day he passed the entry to bank or the date on which his bank account is debited, guys. Whichever is earlier. Okay, sir. This two you got now. Rest of the three sections copy paste of goods. Subsection 4, 5 and 6 is copy paste of goods. Same to same. But here it is for services. So there it was for goods. So same to same provision. Same to same provision. And guys, especially for forward and reverse charge, please be careful when you are studying. Once you study for goods and services, compare and see what is the difference. For goods, there is no date of payment. And invoice issued within the due date, after the due date doesn't matter. Straight away, date of invoice or due date of invoice, whichever is earlier. Ashte. Clear? Whereas here it is, invoice is issued within the due data or after the due data. You have to check and accordingly decide the dates. And date of payment is one of the thing here. Okay. If it is RCM for goods, 3 dates are there. Date of receipt of goods, 31st day from the date of invoice or date of payment, whichever is earlier. Whereas for services, they told, no, we will not take the date of receipt. We take that 61st day and date of payment. Clear? So highlight the difference between both so that it would be easy for you to remember, guys. Rest 3 sections copy paste under for both goods as well as services. Here itself I have given same as goods. If I studied properly these 3 subsections for goods, again it is same for services, guys. So this is all about the time of supply provisions, guys.